Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. 007 here. I'm going to go over the top 4 things, or the big 4 for backpacking, and some of the reasons I went with what I did, especially from my lessons learned after the first time out on the AT. So I consider the top 4 my tent, my sleeping system, backpack. Those are the main 3, and then I add footwear because I think that's pretty important. So let me start with the footwear. These are the Merrell Moab 3s. This is what I started. These actually are the ones I started the AT on. I made it just over 100 miles with them. If you follow my my videos from earlier in the year, you know, day, I don't know, 8, 9, 12, something. The shoes, I went with these because this is what I wore in the military when I was on deployment, and they worked real well for me. I wear a 9.5 shoe, so I got a 9.5 boot. They told me these were wide, everything was good, until you start walking up and down those mountains. And I struggle with my shoes for that first 100 miles. You know, my toes were cramping in the front, and it just was not working for me. I lost 3 toenails, a lot of blisters. My toes were just, there was no room. So when I got into Franklin, I went into Outdoor 76, I think, and I said, hey, I need something different. I didn't necessarily want to go with trail runners because I wanted a little heavier shoe, but that's what I ended up doing. So in Franklin, they hooked me up with these Hokas. These are the Stinson 7s. I put different shoelaces in them because, little note, if you leave your shoes sitting outside your tent, even though it's a bright night and you know it's not going to rain, or I was in the vestibule area, when I got up in the morning, a mouse had chewed my shoelaces and taken half of them with them to make a nest somewhere or something. But these Hokas, man. So first thing was I went from 9.5 to a 10. Definitely a wide box here, and so much more comfortable. I mean, I felt it immediately, and did another couple 100 miles with no issues at all. The blisters went away, everything was good. So I will tell you though, when they measured my feet and everything was, you know, they brought out, man, it must have been close to 10 pair of shoes, all different types. And you know, I tried a couple different Hokas on, tried a couple others. You have to try them on to know what fits right, and these just felt good. As soon as I put them on, I thought, man, that's the shoe. I tried other Hokas on and I thought, nope, that's not the shoe. So I would urge you, if you're by somebody that knows what they're doing, to go there and get fitted for the right shoe that's going to be the right size. Didn't have any more issues with my feet or my toes hitting the front of my shoes, so that's kind of that. So I'll go with those here on the Foothills Trail. I use Darn Tough socks. Man, I had no issue with those whatsoever. So Darn Tough socks, definitely. I started out with these Injinji socks, wore them, and then my Darn Tough over them. I didn't like them. I wore them around here training, you know, getting ready. And then when I got on the trail, I just got a lot of blisters, and when I got the Hokas, I didn't wear these and I didn't get any blisters. I didn't have any problems. So I think it's kind of a preference thing, the Injinji liner socks. I did wear some compression sleeves over my calves, so these really worked out. The only problem with these for me was, man, when it started getting warm, 80, 90 degrees, you know, I just didn't want to have anything else on my feet. But I will definitely have these on the Foothills Trail. So the gaiters I used, and I was really glad I did the Kahtoola gaiters. I really recommend them. Everything that I'm talking about is going to be in the description with the equipment in case I screw up any of the names, which I'm sure I will. So you can find it there. All right, next thing I'm going to talk about is my pack. So I started with, anybody that was following me, with a Gregory pack. This was the Paradigm. It's 58 liter pack. Really liked it, liked everything about it. Probably a little heavier than others, but It was a nice pack. I liked the way all the pockets were with everything. But, and if you followed me, you know, it started squeaking, and man, it was bad. And in Franklin, I went and talked to, oh, I cannot remember the name of the outfitter, the other outfitter in Franklin. Doggone, that's gonna tick me off. I'll put it underneath here, but I went to them, and I highly recommend them, by the way. So it's something with the foam, the way it's made. It was just defective, and it was squeaking. There was nothing they could do to change that. So got rid of the Gregory pack, and I went with the Osprey Exos, 58 liter as well. Really comfortable bag. I was really glad I did it, and that's what I use here on the Foothills Trail as well. All right, so I want to talk about my tent. I have the, let me see the name here, the Durston, right there. Durston Mid 2. It's a 2-person tent. It's a trekking pole tent. I had this on the AT, had it on the Art Lobe. Really happy with it. I don't have all the stakes around it right now. I just put the 4 in the corners just to kind of put it up, air it out, and then show you what we got here. I want to first talk about the stakes, the tent stakes. So somebody had said the hyper light, ultra light stakes, really good, and that's actually these right here. These are the ultralight by Hyperlight. On the Art Lobe Trail, I bent one first night, so I wasn't too happy with those. I have 2 of them right now that I really just use right here on the outside, but that's the only place I use those, so I have 2 of them from the 4 that I had. I went with, it's called Big Sky International. It's called a tube stake, and it's spelled S-T-E-A-K. I think they're 8 or 9 inches. They look very similar to these ultralight, but I used them on the AT, and I haven't had any issue with them things, man. I really love them. So use those for the 4 corners, and then the MSR Groundhog stakes, I think. Groundhog stakes. I use those for, you know, in between the, sorry, it's getting crazy here, in between the 4 corners there, and over here. I'll use those, and also for if I use the tie downs, I'll use these MSR Groundhog stakes. So that's kind of that. So like I said, it's trekking pole tent. Here's why I like it. Durston also makes another tent. It's probably twice the price. It's definitely ultra light. I cannot recall the material, but it didn't have the option that I wanted, and I'll show you what that is. So with this tent right now, what you see is, so I have the outside and I have the ground cover attached to the tent, and this tent I put on the outside of my pack, so it's in a bag on the outside of my pack, and then I'm about to put the net inside. But what I wanted to show you is I can, and I'm gonna try to do this right, but so I can sit here, I'm sitting inside the tent now, and the advantage is I can pull down the net and pack everything in my bag inside the tent, so when it's raining I can do all that in the dry. And then what happens is once I get the netting part of the tent and everything done, I'll come out, put my pack cover on my pack, set it by a tree or something, and then I just pack up this tent, which is already wet, put it on the outside of my pack, and that way I keep the inside dry. And you know, I had initially thought that if I have the tent here and I keep the netting inside and wrap the tent around it, the water wouldn't seep into the net part. That isn't the way that works, so I found that out the hard way. So yeah, that's the big thing with this. The other Durston tent is not, the inside is not removable. So that was something I wanted, and I wanted to make sure I could do, and it is, you got to practice a few times, but this has worked out great on the AT. Pouring rain in the morning, and I'll pack everything up, sit right here, have my coffee, and then when I'm ready to go for the day and, you know, got my rain gear on or whatever I'm doing, yeah, I'm good to go. So yeah, that's kind of the way I do that, and that's the reason I like this tent. Now, another thing I did, and you're gonna see this here in a minute, these here, sorry, I put these hooks on the four corners because when I put the net up, I'll show you again, but it's this hard plastic, they're real small, and it was hard to get that off. So when it's pouring rain and you're trying to do that, to put it on or off, it's a little difficult. So these little clips, really light, and then I just clip it on there, and then I can do the four corners and go from there. So I'm gonna hook it up inside. I might set this on a tripod and see if I can do it that way, just to show you how that works. So bear with me a sec. Hopefully this works all right with the tripod. But so what I did was I keep the net part of the tent in one of the Sea Summit dry bags. If you're a hiker, you got these all over the place. I know I do. So I keep that in my pack. So I'll set this up, and then I usually, with the cover on my pack, you know, I kind of work it so I can dig in, and this tent is normally close to the top. And yeah, so I'll set my pack to the side, pull the net out, and now it's pouring rain and I'm underneath my tent. And I mean, I would have this side zipped. I zip this side too, but just to show you how this works, and you'll see why I put those clips on. So once I know I have it the right direction, and I have little marks on my tent that help me identify it, the hard part, and the reason those clips are there, is I'll just lay on my stomach here, and I can just lay down and hook those clips, these little clip ends, into that little snap link that I showed you on the video. And I can do this all from inside. It's really hard to do that if you have to work that plastic, especially if it's a little cold. You have to work that underneath. Now I can get out as well if I have my rain gear on and just walk around and clip it real easy too, but I just want to show you can do it all inside. There we go. So I got 3 on the last one. So now the 4 sides are hooked up. All I gotta do is the center. So one side, go over here, loosen the net. So that. So that's the one corner, and then this is the last piece. I would come out in the rain a little bit here. Can't do it all in there. And now I've hooked that side up. The only thing left is just putting this underneath the your trekking poles. But now you can see how I have, this was from the inside, just reached over there. And if I do it from the outside too, it's pretty simple. But yeah, so now my net's all set up. Unzip it, bring my bag in, and I've kept most of the rain out, which is a big deal. So that's why I like the Durston Mid 2. Again, it's 2-person tent, so gives me a little more room. I can put my bag in there with no problem. I got plenty of room in there, so really like the Durston 2. So let me go move on and cover my sleep system. All right, so I've covered now the Durston Mid 2, tent, my pack and my shoes, the last thing I got is my sleeping system. And I will tell you, this is kind of dependent on the weather. I'm planning on doing the Foothills Trail here in October, but we just had the hurricane come through, and right now they're asking everybody to stay off the trail till they get a chance to you know, make sure everything's right. And people in the western North Carolina and South Carolina there, they are struggling. So I'll probably push it off a little bit, and it's kind of temperature dependent. Now I will tell you, I have a Nimo disco tent or sleeping bag rated to 15 degrees. That's what I used on the trail when I started 20 March this year. No issues whatsoever with that tent. I went and got an Enlighten Revelation quilt. It's rated at 40 degrees. That's what I intended to take, but I'm going to wait for the weather to make that final determination. So it could tweak a little bit, but I have a plan. So yeah, so this is the Enlighten. It's a quilt. If you don't know about quilts, they're super light. It's more of a blanket, you know, if you unzip it. And I haven't used it yet camping. I got it to do some summer camping, so I'm looking forward to using that. Now I will tell you, I have this Sea to Summit liner. I just threw it here because that'll get me another 10-15 degrees. So this is rated to 40 degrees. My other one's at 15, and my other one's definitely hot, you know, if it gets warm. So with the 40 and, you know, figure down to 30 degrees, I can probably use this. Yeah, and then if I think there's a threat going less, then I'll probably go with my sleeping bag. But so my pillow, this is an Outdoor Vitals pillow. Man, super happy with this thing. Fits great in your sleeping bag in the head area. And then my sleeping pad is this Nimo tension. It's a tensor, I'm sorry, not tension, tensor that I have. It's an all-season, it's super light, and it's very comfortable. It's noisy, but it's comfortable. This right here is blood. That's what happens when you're out camping and you do the wrong things. So I got a little blood on there, so I know nobody's stealing this. And then this piece right here, I use a flex tail. I use a flex tail little pump, and it works great. The first one I had did not. It would overheat and would just shut off. So when I first went out on the AT, that didn't work. I got back, I was pretty ticked about it. Wrote flex tail, told them what happened. Went with the bag to inflate you know, my sleeping bag, which was no problem. And then sure enough, when I got back, Flextail sent me another one. So I've used it a couple times, works great. You know, I kind of shied from it initially because I thought that thing will be that'll definitely be heavier, but it ends up, it's, you know, a couple ounces lighter than that bag that comes with the tensor to use to blow a big yellow bag. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And then worst case, I'll just blow it up my mouth, which is what I was doing before. But that little black thing is the adapter then that you put, and I just keep it strapped to that so I always know where it is. So all right, so that's that kind of covers the four big things that we have so far, and I'll do another equipment video on all the other stuff I have and kind of some of the lessons learned, why I went the way I did, like with my shoes and some things like that. But yeah, if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button, and see you in a week or two with another equipment video on the rest of the stuff I'm bringing with me. All right, take care everybody.